and to blow up the houses of parliament in the West, and to blow up Riyadh and Dammam and these places, that to them this is jihad. When in reality it's fasad, it's corruption, and it is not jihad. That they believe that this jihad this is what is intended by this ayah. وَجَاهِدْهُمْ بِهِ جِهَادًا كَبِيرًا. Then the question that we ask him, we say, Ya ayyuhal juhal. Oh ignorant ones. Where was this ayah revealed? Was it revealed in Mecca or in Medina? See the importance of tariq, ya ikhwan. Importance of knowing the Quran and the understanding of the Quran. Where was this ayah revealed? Was it in Mecca or Medina? If you say that it was revealed in Mecca, then say to us, give us the understanding of the ayah then. Because the ayah without doubt was revealed in Mecca. If the ayah, وَجَاهِدْهُمْ بِهِ جِهَادًا كَبِيرًا, and make jihad with it, the greater jihad, jihadun kabira Allah called it, the greater jihad, make jihad with it, the greater jihad. It was revealed in Mecca. Which jihad in Mecca? When did the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, did he ever once lift the sword in Mecca? Never lifted the sword in Mecca. Did the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam, for the 13 years when he was in Mecca, did he ever take an army against the mushrikeen? And Mecca in that time, don't forget, was Darul Kufr. Mecca was not Darul Islam. Mecca was Darul Kufr. Mushrikeen, they were running Mecca. 316 idols around the Kaaba and inside of the Kaaba. People, those mushrikeen making tawaf around the Kaaba, naked, sacrificing, having altars around the Kaaba where they used to bring the animals and they used to sacrifice for Allat and Al-Uzza and Al-Mannat and Hubal and the rest of the idols. They used to sacrifice for them and make zabh for their idols. But Allah sent down the ayah, وَجَاهِدْهُمْ بِهِ جِهَادًا كَبِيرًا. So if the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was ordered with qital in Mecca with this ayah, then why didn't he obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and make qital? Why didn't he obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and lift up the sword and the spear and take it against Abu Jahl and Abu Lahab and Abu Sufyan, who were at that time from the heads of Quraysh? Why didn't he raise the sword and raise the spear? Was he disobedient to Allah when Allah ordered him, وَجَاهِدْهُمْ بِهِ جِهَادًا كَبِيرًا, and make jihad against them with it, the greatest jihad or the greater jihad? So which jihad was this? Understand the tariq of al-Islam. Understand the ayat of the Quran. The greater jihad in that time was the jihad of da'wah and the jihad of giving the Tawheed to the people. As Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala said, that this ayah was revealed in a time when the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it was forbidden for him, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had forbidden for him from raising the sword, from lifting the spear, and from gathering an army. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had forbidden the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam from this, and this is why you find in Mecca, the Muslims were oppressed, they were small in number, and even though Mecca was Darul Kufr, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whilst he was in Mecca for 13 years, he did not raise a single sword against them. Rather, the messengership of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, for how many years did it last? 23 years. Alaysa kadhalik? 23 years or not? 23 years. When did Mecca become Darul Islam? The year before he died. Sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. The year before he died, Mecca was conquered. The Fath of Mecca took place after 22 years of his messengership. Out of the 23, he saw Mecca under Darul Kufr, as a land of the kuffar, where the first house for the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the first house that was built by Ibrahim alayhi salam, his forefather, and it was built also by his son Ismail alayhi salam, for the worship of Allah for 23 years that he was a prophet, and he was the greatest of the prophets and the greatest of the messengers. He had to endure Mecca to be in the hands of the mushrikeen, up until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had ordained and sent him to Mecca to conquer it the year before he alayhi salatu wasalam passed away. So that's the third level in the first category. The fourth level being that we are patient, and that which I have mentioned Shows you the patience of the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wassalam. He wasn't musta'jil. He wasn't known for his impetuosity or his impatience and hastiness. Rather, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam was an obedient slave of Allah. He was a messenger and an abd of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He was truly, when the angel came to him and the angel said, the hadith in Sisla, hadithu Sahihah of Shaykh Muhammad Nasiruddin al-Albani, authenticated by him, where the hadith comes and the angel came to the Messenger of Allah and he said, your Lord has given you a choice. Do you want to be a king prophet or do you want to be a slave messenger? So he said, I want to be a slave messenger. So he was patient, a slave and a messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is who he was sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Patient when Khabbab ibn Arat came to the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam whilst the Messenger was sitting in the shade of the Kaaba. And he was sitting in the shade of the Kaaba and he had his burda over him, his cloak around him or his blanket around him. And Khabbab ibn Arat said to the Messenger of Allah, Ya Rasulullah, do you not see the oppression that we are suffering? Do you not see how the mushrikeen are punishing us and torturing us? And Khabbab ibn Arat had a right to say this, because Khabbab ibn Arat radiyallahu anhu, one of the greatest of the companions of Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he didn't have a qabila to protect him. He didn't have a tribe to protect him like some of the other companions, that those who were belonging to strong tribes, like Hamza radiyallahu anhu, and the likes of the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wassalam, that he was protected by his uncle Abu Talib, from the qabail of the mushrikeen of Quraysh. But Khabbab ibn Arat and Bilal bin Rabah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not give them the qabail and the qabila to protect them. So the mushrikeen used to take out their anger against them, even though the Messenger himself suffered occasionally. And they tried to strangle him. And they used to put the intestines of dead animals upon the back of the Messenger whilst he was in prayer, and so on and so forth. But the likes of Khabbab ibn Arat radiyallahu anhu, that they used to mistreat him. And they used to take him out into the desert because he was an ironmonger. And they used to order him to make a coat of arms for himself. So they used to make it out of iron, and then they used to say, right, put it on yourself. So they put it upon himself and leave him out into the desert. So the whole of his skin used to burn and he used to peel off his body. And they used to take, the mark, the thing that you put upon animals, the hot poker to mark them. They used to put it into his head and into his back just to mock him and joke with him and to play with him. So he said, Ya Rasulullah, make dua to Allah. So the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam replied to him, the hadith in Bukhari. He said that a man will be taken from those who came before you, meaning from the nations that came before you. A man will be taken from amongst them, and he will be brought forward, and a hole will be dug for him, and he will be placed inside of the hole. And a saw will be placed upon his head, and his body will be sawn into half. His body from the top to the bottom will be sawn into half, up until he fell into two pieces. And that would not make him leave his religion. And another one will be brought, and a metal comb be placed upon his body. And the skin, and the veins, and the muscles will be torn from his very skeleton of his body. Will be torn from his body, using the metal comb. And that would not cause him to leave his religion. He said, by Allah, Allah will establish his religion. Allah will establish his religion up until a man will travel from Sana'a to Hadramaut, 2 places in Yemen, and he will not fear anyone except for Allah and the wolf upon his sheep. But indeed you are a hasty people, he said. O kama qala Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He said, but indeed you are a hasty people. So the Messenger of Allah is telling them that there were people that were brought, and their bodies will be sawn into 2 pieces. And a man will be brought before Yawm al-Qiyamah. And he will stand before the Dajjal, a youth. And he will say to the Dajjal that indeed, you are the one that I heard from the hadith of the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wassalam, that you are the one who is the Dajjal. So then the Dajjal will say to the people, if I saw him into 2 pieces, will you then believe that I am your Lord? They will say yes. So you will take the youth and you will saw him into 2 pieces, and the 2 pieces will fall apart of this young boy. And then the Dajjal will walk through the middle of the two pieces of his body. Then the Dajjal will say, be together. And his body will be brought back together again. So a boy, a youth, in front of the Dajjal will be sawn into two pieces. And he will stand up to that. And we all know the story of the boy and the sorcerer and the priest. Where the boy, he stood up to that mushrik. And the mother with her child. And the mother, when she spoke when the baby, he spoke from the lap or from the holding of the mother. He said, oh my mother, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. And when they forced her to jump into the fire, she jumped into the fire. So this is how the people before us were treated. But that would never cause them to leave their religion. Sawn into two pieces and they would never leave their religion. They would be thrown into the fire and they will never leave their religion.